We're getting a clearer picture of the Orlando killer's final chilling moments during the deadly massacre at the Pulse nightclub. The FBI released some of the 911 call transcripts between the shooter and police. In it, he tells dispatchers, "I'm in Orlando and I did the shootings." The killer also identified himself as an Islamic soldier and claimed there were more bombs inside and outside of the club. David Begnaud is in Orlando. David, you were at the FBI's press conference earlier today. What more are we learning?
Well, a couple of things I was struck by is that there were, in the initial phone call with the dispatcher, she says to him, "What's your name?" And he says, "Praise be to God," and he's pledging allegiance to all this. And she's like, "Yeah, but what's your name?" And he says, "Well, praise be to God." And she's like, "Okay, I get it. Where are you?" And he says, "I'm in Orlando." And so he's kind of somewhat argumentative and defiant in the initial phone call with the dispatcher. What they laid out today in the press conference that happened here in front of Pulse nightclub gave us a little bit more of an indication that we did not know. And here was one of the most important things. Apparently, the majority of the victims shot were all shot within the first 6 to 8 minutes when police actually made entry into the building. And then there was that 3-hour period where they negotiated with the suspect. But all of the victims were shot and killed in that initial 6 to 8 minute period. There was a question asked of law enforcement here. Is it a possibility that some of the victims died with police officers having shot them when they unintentionally may have fired at the suspect and actually hit some of the victims? And the police chief was very adamant about that. He said that will be investigated. It's a part of the investigation. But then he said, "I want to make this clear. Those deaths were on the shooter." In other words, indicating if it turns out some of my officers shot some of the victims and killed them, we didn't do it intentionally, which is obvious. We did it because we were trying to take down this man. Remember, this was around 2:02 as the club was closing. In fact, we've heard from patrons who were inside that the call had gone out that, hey, it's about to wrap up. Grab your last drink, tell your friend goodbye. This is the end of the night. And that's right around the time that the shooting happened. We also asked the FBI why they were choosing to redact information from the transcripts that were being released. They have not released the actual audio calls where you hear the dispatcher talking with the gunman. They only released the transcripts today. We've already heard from some political officials who have slammed the Obama administration in saying that redactions should not be done. It should be provided to the public exactly as it is. But the FBI special agent in charge, who spoke here at the news conference, said, if we do that, it is our belief that we will be furthering the propaganda that this shooter was trying to spread. And so for that reason alone, we will not do it. I can tell you that news agencies are talking with their lawyers to try and figure out whether anything can be done legally in order to have that information released fully, entirely, with no redactions, so that the public can see everything and then the analysis can follow.
David, what are investigators saying now about his wife's possible connection? I know last week there was a lot of talk, certainly, that she was being investigated. Where is that investigation right now?
Well, look, here's what I can tell you through my FBI sources. There were some initial reports that the wife may have left the state, she may have left the country. That's simply not the case. Federal law enforcement officials are confirming to CBS News the FBI knows exactly where the wife is. And the wife has been cooperating up to this point and continues to do so. She has provided access to her digital footprint. She has met with investigators. They know where she is. They're literally sitting on top of her, so to speak. They've got agents watching her. And I've also had sources tell me she's not the biggest fish right now. They are really honing in on anyone else who may have been an accomplice in this. I can also tell you this, Vlad. They are looking specifically for video that may come from some of the toll booths up and down the corridor that the shooter would have taken in order to get from his home south of here in remind me the name, Fort Pierce. I was asking my producer, I forgot the name for a moment. In the city of Fort Pierce. What they're trying to figure out is, did he take the highway, and in going through those toll booths, would he have been seen on video, or did he take side streets? If he took side streets, there is not going to be any video potentially of someone sitting in the vehicle with him. So again, they know where the wife is. She is contained. If charges are brought against her, it's a matter of formality. They've got plenty of evidence. We're told 600 pieces of evidence was taken out of this nightclub. The real focus for the FBI, which is working 12-hour shifts right now around the clock, is, did he have an accomplice? Did somebody know what he was doing, when he was doing it, and did they help him do it?
David Begnaud reporting on the ground for us in Orlando. David, we thank you as always.